Aaron, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, hey. Shit, you're on? All right, hi.
Yeah. It looked like you were going to give yourself a Joker smile.
I'm good. No, you want to know? I'm not. We'll save the scars for later. Halloween's a ways away. How you doing?
Good. I'm so glad to have you back.
It's good to be back. Sorry, I've unfortunately had to be away. So good to be back.
That's okay. You know, it's what did they say? Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Was barefoot or something.
Yeah. So I like that you're showing the guns today. I'm impressed.
Well, it's the end of the world. You got to let everybody know that you're skilled and ready to fucking fight with both your fists.
Let's see it. Let's see the flex. Let's see the flex.
At Whole Foods. I didn't. Oh, God.
Come on, Hulk. Now rip your shirt.
Oh no. This is weightlifting modified for a reason. Again, no, show off the pecs at the gym a little bit because summer's here. We're childless and girlfriendless, so we're doing everything. We're laying it all out there.
Where does a young man meet ladies these days during the virus?
You'd have to ask a young man that. I got no fucking idea.
Well, I didn't want to call you a middle-aged man, even though that's what we are.
I don't know.
You seem to be quite uncomfortable with this question, which only entices me to keep digging further.
Keep digging. It's a hole. It's a hole that's about a half inch deep. Really, there's happy to answer a question that really has no. Yeah. So OnlyFans is making a lot of money from an unnamed source in Cleveland these days. Is all.
Really. Speaking of OnlyFans, why don't we bring on these Bucks designers? We're talking Milwaukee Bucks today. And I can't wait to get into it because I got some strong opinions about.
Yeah, and by the way, to the listening audience, Billy had me prepped to be doing the Boston Celtics episode, so I was going to do the whole episode in shitty Bostonian accent and had to throw it out the window. You're going to see my improvisational prowess on display here as I'm going to use a Milwaukee accent.
Or Wisconsin accent.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
What's your stance on cheese curds?
Love them. JJ Watt, Aaron Rodgers, Uncle Buck, right? Right? I don't know.
That was Chicago. Okay.
Oh yeah, close
enough of this crap.
Sure. Well, isn't it? There's the same state. I don't know.
Ross Shafer, Sean McCarthy, welcome
to
the Super Design Bowl.
Hey guys,
how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Terrible.
Better than awful.
Better than awful. What you're showing off? You actually got your own logo on your arm. That's impressive.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I updated the logo, and I wasn't about to update my fucking tattoo. So whatever. Anyways, gentlemen,
you're gonna have to update the tattoo. How's it going? Hey, let's start with Ross. Ross, tell the home audience a little bit about yourself. Where are you out of right now?
I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, the state. So.
Been here there?
Yeah, been here the whole time, all 31 years. This is Dennis.
Who's that?
Dennis. He will be hopping up.
Dennis. That's a good name for a cat.
Yeah,
it is a good name for a cat.
I like that name. So, Ross, what's your day job?
I'm the art director at Lodge Design. It's on the east side of Indy. I do a little bit.
Repeat that name again.
Lodge Design.
Oh, Lodge.
Yeah, Lodge. So I've been there for, 10 years at the end of this year. So that's pretty cool.
Cool. So what kind of stuff you do there?
A little bit of everything from logos to like web design to just general layout stuff to illustration. I've done a couple mascots, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So a little bit of everything changes.
Do you guys have a lot of local clients? Or
mostly. I think actually right now everything's in state. But yeah, we have a bunch of kind of core clients that we have and that we work with, from year to year. So
I can't remember whose idea was it to do the Bucks. Which one of you guys had Bucks on your list? If either of you,
I did for sure. I think I did.
Oh, you both did. That's how I matched you up. That's how it works, people.
Here we are.
I get two people that say Bucks, and it dings a bell, and then bada bing, bada boom.
I love when we got two fighters. They asked for it. They want the smoke. Right in the center of the ring, Duke's up. Let's go.
So, you big Avengers fan?
Oh,
See back there?
yeah.
No, not at all.
Big comic book nerd. So
I am as well, and I think pants. I don't know if you fit into that category. Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
fit into that category?
100%. Yep, 100%.
I was a little underwhelmed by the Eternals trailer that just came out.
I was not. You want to take a tangent?
Oh wow, look at that! A Thor's hammer.
You got Mjolnir.
I do.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it, and it's funny because people, like compliment me on it, but they'll like never say Mjolnir. They'll say like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Is that a Mjolnir?" Or like they'll just completely butcher it, and I'll be like, "Yeah, it's Mjolnir." Like, love it.
John, if you are also a comic book nerd, we could just scrap this whole thing altogether. We can just talk comic books.
Talk on the Eternals trailer.
Guys, I've read 0 comic books in my entire life.
God. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Back to the sports.
Mute this man.
Sean, where are you at? Where are you out of?
Currently, I'm in my house in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool. I've been to Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati.
It in the last 4 or 5 years has gotten quietly awesome. So if you haven't
went to
been
a
in
really
while,
good hot
I
dog.
suggest coming back here.
I went to a fancy hot dog restaurant
Oh, really?
in Cincinnati. I don't know. It was a bar / hot dog restaurant.
Wasn't that good?
I don't remember the
I don't
name.
remember it, but it was.
I don't know. It was probably wieners or long dogs or.
Billy,
Oh no,
Billy, here's
that's
the problem. You don't drink. I drink. No one expects me to remember these details. You don't drink.
this was a long time ago.
People
You know
want
why I was there? I was there for the comic book convention.
That's why we did not cross paths.
Yeah. So what's your day job, Sean?
So during the day, I work for GE Aviation in sort of a creative role. Yeah, I work at what's basically like a school for airline mechanics.
Really?
And airlines will send their mechanics from all over the world to this facility, and I produce training videos mostly, but a lot of training material on. We have every jet engine GE makes on our shop floor, and most of my day is kind of spent at a computer editing videos. But we'll shoot videos about stuff that airline mechanics are having a hard time with. So, like how to torque a B-nut on a GE90 accessory gearbox. That's what we did today.
That's crazy. Did you have any experience in aeronautical engineering before you got this job?
No, I worked at none, 0. I worked at an advertising agency in Seattle for a couple years, and I worked on the Alaska Airlines account for about 3 months before the agency got fired.
Oh.
And I worked on the Alaska Airlines in-flight menu that went in the seatbacks. And then when I was trying to move back to Cincinnati, a guy who worked for GE Aviation thought, "Oh, he's got airline experience." And that's
crazy.
That's how I got the role.
Sean, quick question.
Yeah.
Reclining your seat on a flight in the economy class, trash move or is it not?
I trash move. I'm not a tall guy though, so I don't care. But
Neither am I.
But I don't know. I guess so. Yeah.
I always thought it was a trash move. I always thought I always
Really?
thought you just grin and bear it and you fucking rip your back up on your flight to Atlanta. Like that's.
I feel like I'm a pretty considerate person, but
to the person behind you.
It's never bothered me when someone reclines.
So
I recline on people.
Here's why it bothers me.
Okay.
Because the only time I ever get reclined on is when I take my fucking lava hot coffee and put it on my little flimsy tray, and then immediately the front, like 2 inches away from my face, and then there's coffee all over my fucking mesh shorts and shit. This happened to me a few weeks ago. And then I got into like a discourse with some of my friends about whether or not you should recline or not. And I never do it because I go, there's always someone behind me. And I just always
I think the issue is when you recline, your seat goes from here to here. It doesn't do enough.
It doesn't
It
really
doesn't
do
do
enough.
enough to make a difference for your own comfort. It just bothers the person behind you.
But you know what, Sean? You clearly don't work at Delta, because at Delta, that seat moved more than 6 degrees. I mean, that shit was in my fucking face.
Yeah.
And I'm like just a fucking dick hair short of 6 foot tall. So it's like, I'm not like the biggest dude either. And it was kind of in my space. But I don't do it.
Let me give you a tip, Pants. And a lot of people are not going to go for this tip. I don't drink on a plane. I don't drink liquids on a plane because I don't want to have to get up and go pee.
That's
And
fair.
so if you don't drink coffee on the plane, then you're not going to have any issues.
Well, I can only refresh Twitter so many times where I have to occupy my time doing something else, you know. So it's like, and I almost always do an aisle seat, so then it's like I have a clear egress to the fucking lavatory when I got to pee inevitably. So, anyways, tell the folks at GE for having thank you for having reasonable reclining standards.
Well, we don't make the seats. We just make the jet engines.
To make the engines.
Take the plane from one place.
You should make the policy. You should make.
He'll work on that.
I
Sean,
can talk about airport etiquette all day long.
You might have the most interesting or unique job of anyone I've talked to on the show. I don't
think it's close. I think Sean,
yeah,
it's the goat. No offense, Ross, but myself included. I think Sean.
I mean, it's a weird thing. I go in every day, and I've learned more about jet engines than I would ever care to. But it's just like you have to take the creative mindset and apply it to this super non-creative endeavor and kind of try to figure out the best way to make this ultra complex subject matter into something that is watchable.
So both you guys do freelance on the side, I'm guessing, or because that obviously for you, Sean, maybe that's a way for you to get your creative more less aeronautical creative juices flowing.
Yeah, definitely. So I do a lot of apparel design, sports logo design. I'm currently working with my high school's principal on rebranding the entire high school, the athletic department.
That's cool. That's something I really wanted to do. I really want to
It's a weird long story. The short version of it is the school opened in 2003 when I was like 15 or 16, and they had a draw the logo contest.
Oh, really?
And I drew a very carefully considered ripoff of the Minnesota Vikings logo. Because we're called the Celtics or Celtics.
The Celtics.
And I submitted that fully thinking I would win and be this, like hero. People carry me out, on the football on their shoulders. And then they went with this girl who was like the standard like 4.0 overachiever type.
Yeah.
They used her submission. It was like clip art on top of dog shit. And it looked horrible. And it still looks horrible. They're still using it.
They're still using it.
Yeah, it's like 18 years later. And I just as an exercise threw something up on Instagram. Someone tagged the school. The principal saw it. He called me. I told him that story. He was like, well, we need to get this logo fixed. And so now we're actually going through the process. And I think we're going to, in the next couple weeks, officialize this thing.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like a fun project. Could be a headache.
But the fun part about it is I'm getting paid $0, and I volunteered my time, and I'm spending dozens and dozens of hours on it for free. So
high schools famously have a lot of money to spend.
Right.
Speaking of lots of money, let's look at all the these giant invoices that you guys were able to bill me for these Bucks logos. Look at this. So unfortunately, this was a close match. Not unfortunately. Well done, fellas. And it got pretty good turnout. So that's not bad. But Ross, I'm sorry to do this to you. You done lost. I apologize.
The way she goes, Ross.
That's the way she goes. Listen, I'm one I'm 1-1.
What's the
So
score?
Yeah, well, it looks like Ross won.
oh wait, Ross did win. God damn
I
it!
was like, maybe my
I mean,
screen hasn't updated.
Why did I do that? Why did I
I
do
was gonna
that?
say,
Do I have to replay that for Sean?
Yep.
please do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do I have to?
I will
Okay,
take
Oh,
Sean,
yeah.
but
Ross,
Oh, yeah.
I am
the
doubly
least I can
sorry
do.
I had to do that for you. Now, Sean, it's wow. I've never done that. I'm really off my game.
I was
That
gonna
was
say I
amazing.
wasn't a math major, but
Yeah.
58 is less than 61.
Speaking of off their game, Sean, what happened?
Oh no.
You know what?
Ross
Before we
is
start
just good
talking about these,
competition.
before we start busting balls, let's check out the history of the Bucks logo. Can I think we can all admit that this buck, which the
Fuck.
mascot ended up being called Bango.
Yeah,
I think his
Bango.
name-
Yeah, something like that.
Bango.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
it's a
perfect.
classic. It's like one of the best ever.
It's
Yeah,
perfect that it oddly has a weirdly modernized typeface, or did that get introduced like in the 80s and 90s?
Well, obviously that was a typeface that existed back then. But this. I mean, I could see why they wanted to change it because it's really friendly. Now, 68. When did Rudolph come out? That was like
The Rand McNally show, the Rankin Bass show.
Yeah, Rankin Bass show, right? that came out in like 64. So
Yeah.
maybe this, I don't know. Maybe it was it kind of feels like it would fit right in with that, with the Rankin Bass.
This era of NBA mascots, like the old Denver Nuggets guy, and I'm missing one or two others, they had that sort of mid-century inspired look, which I think looks fucking great because it was made by people that actually could draw before digital tech was. So.
Now I like this because it has a lot of character, but I'm not sure how well it works as a logo or as a, I mean, it's a nice illustration. Mm-hmm. Is it a great logo? No. Does it have a lot of charm? Of course. Do I like it? Would I wear it on a hat? Absolutely.
It's really not that many touches away from being very reproducible at a small size.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's sort of the kind of thing that's been back in fashion recently, where teams are going in some sort of more cartoony, less serious direction than just the 90s. The 90s Buck is super serious.
Let's talk about this guy. So obviously when you go from a change, it's like disco to punk rock. You know what I mean? You really want to go 180 degrees, mm-hmm. and this is sort of what they did in the 90s. Where this had a lot of character, this has a lot of toughness. You want to call it angles? Yeah. Serious. It's serious as hell.
It's thick.
What?
Thick, like it's some thick muscular rendering of a buck, which is not a traditionally strong, aggressive creature.
And then I remember when they in 2007 when they went back to a little bit more of their traditional Christmas colors, which I didn't hate. I thought that was pretty unique, and they updated the typeface. The deer stayed pretty much the same. What's always bothered me about the Bucks in all three of these iterations is I feel like the horns, and it does it a little bit on this one, but like it would make the shape of a basketball, and I guess that's what they're doing with this one. It's supposed to be a basketball in this part of the horns.
They're suggesting that shape with that, which is a nice touch.
Yeah, I hate this logo, by the way.
Fair. I mean, I think it's well done. It doesn't.
I don't think it's well
builds
done.
Up my spine when I look at it.
I think it's shit.
What don't you like about it? What don't you like the most about
There's
it?
just too much. There's too much inconsistencies with it. Like it's like three different styles of logos put together. The horns have this like pointy thing going on, right?
Mhm.
With the rounded edges and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then you get down to this M and it's all like sort of like straight lines. Like you either need to do like the M on his chest here.
Mhm.
Like I feel like the horns and this don't match. Like they're part of two different logos. And then the fact that like you have this angle that you're creating on this M, it relates to nothing in the logo. Where did like you have a curve in the horn, so and you have a curve here, so this should probably be a curve, right? Or you were trying to reflect this angle, these angles in some of the horns and some of the type. It's just like wasn't considered it at all.
What I mean, my first move would have been is if you're going from a previous iteration that's sort of locked up inside of a triangular container and you want to keep that M in the modern logo the same way, it kind of fits a triangle. It makes more sense to contain it in another triangle as opposed to a round L. You know, you kind of have this circle surrounding it, and then you have the type which doesn't fill the circle out completely, and then it's closed off with a bar inside of it. And I don't know. It's a lot of elements that I kind of dig, but I do agree with you that it doesn't all. There's some disparate things going on here.
What it looks like to me, it looked like the client said, "I like this type with this buck, put it together," and you know what I mean. That it sort of feels like a little bit of a buffet design from the client.
Yeah, it feels like after the 47th round of revisions, the agency was probably like, "What do you want, and how do you want it?"
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right there, because like if you look at the roundel, the way the green bar that the type is in just sort of terminates.
Yeah.
It just feels like
unresolved.
It feels like they probably had 25 other treatments. Just got tired of showing different options, and they just went, okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, to the credit of the designer that made this, anytime anything gets redesigned in the NBA, a few years later, you'll see a deck emerge of all the iterations of different stuff. Like I know the Raptors famously had all the options for all the team names they explored back when they launched the franchise and stuff, and there's always at least 60 other options. You're like, this was so much cooler. You could tell they were so much more excited about making this thing. Mm-hmm. But it definitely does scream of a compromise, this mark.
I won't say who the agency is because it's a contemporary agency, and so I feel kind of bad talking shit about the logo, but it's the same agency that did the disastrous new Chicago Fire logo that they're redoing right now.
What is it? Is it Doubleday Cartwright?
It's
not even a design agency. It's a publishing house.
No, it's a design agency. There's like a design agency in New York that's like hip. So they did the Chicago Fire one too. That was so hated by fans. It's getting redone right now.
It's almost like you see how this is bad. We did that on purpose, and you're just a less intelligent observer.
You really
don't get it.
I think
don't get it. I totally don't get it.
It doesn't matter anymore. Modern sports logo design, because if the outcry is that crazy, they'll just be like, "We gotcha, fooled you.
Right.
Here's what we really meant to do."
We knew Kokcha that we did that on purpose.
After they changed their desk for 48 straight hours with no sleep to come up with something else.
I mean, it just happened with the Columbus Crew also. You can't.
That was interesting. I do kind of like this. There's a little too much going on, but I like the retro stacking of the letters.
It's interesting how with each like step in their brand, they've changed colors. Like the green's always consistent, but it's kind of like I wonder if I can't think of many other teams that have done that. You know, like Detroit. I can think of Detroit Pistons. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting that they can't really make up their minds which colors they want to go with.
Very Vancouver Canucks of them.
But like, when you have a basketball that looks like this and it doesn't match,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with the rest
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't.
logo. It
I'm
just
not into that.
bothers me. It's like
No, I'm not into that.
you just mix. You're doing mix and matchy shit here.
I will say I really like the Bucks typeface, like the lettering they use for
Yeah.
it's cool. I like
classic.
it way more than the bevel type that preceded it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. What do you guys think? I mean, this kind of stuff, this sort of retro athletic type of typeface, it's been in vogue for the last 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years maybe. What do you see? Do you see it? Do you see it sticking around? Do you see it? Because in one essence, in athletics and sports, typefaces like this, they are kind of timeless. So maybe it really won't go out of style. But just like we had in the 90s and the early 2000s, everything was beveled and sharp. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do we start reflecting back to that, or do we start going all scripts? Or it's impossible to tell, I guess. But I haven't really seen anything on the horizon.
I think with the way that Nike has sort of obliterated any sort of tradition or uniform cohesion, you're just going to see everything at once. I just don't think there's going to be one dominant trend in basketball, specifically with type. Look at this masterpiece.
Wow, look at that thing.
There's so many uniforms now that they're going through these trends at such a breakneck speed at this point, where in the 90s the Bucks had this green uniform with a big sublimated deer on the front of it, and it was sort of became legendary because it was so just like weird and out there and kind of hideous that but that was the only thing they did. They had 2 uniforms plus that thing. But now teams have 6, 7, 8. This is our special, one-off jersey that we wear one time. Yeah. So they're cycling through all these different things that they're trying out. So things are just like happening at this crazy rate that it wasn't that way.
I think they learned something from European soccer, who they do 3 new jerseys every year, 3 new kits, and that equals sales.
But at the same time, I think it changes so quickly that nothing becomes established as tradition.
Now, not for every team, of course, and not for every sport too. The Yankees, for instance. So something pop quiz, hot shots. Do you know who this is?
Yes. What's his name?
I'll give you.
Is his last name like Indiana or something?
Yeah,
like
it is. Robert Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Indiana.
You should have known that. So Robert Indiana, he was one of the mid-century pop artists, right? But he famously, in 1977, painted the Milwaukee Bucks court, and they had that for like 10 years or something. It's pretty fucking cool. The method.
This is what he painted.
Yeah, that was his design.
Yeah, it's awesome
for the court. You can sort of see it.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The what's really interesting, you could actually buy a piece of the original court. Somebody bought it, and they're selling off pieces of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And he's probably most famously known for this painting.
Never seen it.
Shut the fuck up. Here's some of his other work, which I dig. I like this one a lot. This is probably a really famous bit of his as well, from '61. I think that's just a really cool bit of. I wish there was more things like that. Getting famous artists or whatever. It's different when. You get Drake to design your fucking Raptors logo or whatever. Like a real visual artist.
The Cleveland Cavaliers actually hired like a noted gallery artist, Daniel Arsham, to be their creative director. Like they straight up hired the guy. He's like
cool.
A salary position as their creative director, which is like a pretty cool precedent to set for professional sports teams.
That's interesting. I wonder if he's gonna know anything about marketing. but I will look into that and learn more about that. That's cool. Let's now that we've talked about this, let's start with you, Sean. Sean, what the hell are you thinking?
So, it's Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's just kind of like beer, cheese, bowling alleys. Like if the city was anything, I think the city is like a 70s basement with like bowling trophies in it.
Sure.
That's just what I think.
Happy Days. It's Happy Days.
Yeah, it's Happy Days. It's like, those old dingy pool lights that go over a billiards table. It's just like dried beer on like a tile floor. And I was going for like a Stroh's or like, like an old, like a beer that your grandfather would drink with the pull off tabs.
Yeah.
And all that, like something that would go on a can you would find like in the backyard that's been there for 40 years. So
yeah, it's a great pitch, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
yeah, it's great.
So I was going for something that also displayed the Buck in a way that the Bucks haven't. So I had this hunch that Ross was going to do something cartoonish because I looked at your profile and I thought, I've done a lot of mascots and things like that. And thought if I go that direction, we're just going to be doing the same thing. Turns out you didn't do that, but so I have him sort of looking off into the distance. He's, maybe standing on a mountain. I incorporated a little M into his chest hair there. And I went with the Irish rainbows as sort of an homage to my favorite Bucks color scheme was in the 80s when they had like 3 or 4 different greens down the sides of their jerseys. And I think that's just a color scheme nobody uses. So it's like, you got to go for it.
I like the 2 greens a lot and the gold. I think that's really cool.
I love that lighter green.
Yeah, the lighter green. It sort of reminds me of, it's not quite as Seattle Seahawks, which is more neon, I guess. But I like it. I like the concept there, and I think you could do some really cool green on green action.
I mean, I played a lot with that lighter green. I played with the 2 greens a lot. There was many different iterations of this color scheme, and the gold too. I'm trying to find a gold that was not too dark, not too bright.
So hard. So hard.
Yeah, and their current gold, I guess, isn't even a gold. It's like cream, and I don't think it's too close to the white on the jersey. I was watching their game the other night. It's just like their colors are basically green and white. They kind of look like the Celtics, other than they have like antlers on their sides. But
yeah,
it's just like the cream is too close to white. It doesn't contrast enough with the white. They're basically a one color team, so I wanted to give them a darker gold, and then because they're the NBA, I worked the basketball onto the bottom there. You got to have the ball. That's just like NBA basketball logos 101.
Yeah.
Figure out how to get a ball in there.
Yeah. I do like how you incorporated the ball. I think that's clever. The hardest part with the Buck is horns. It's a hard thing to design around. Yeah. It's just like, if this was the Badgers or something, it becomes a more containable, easier thing to pull off.
Exactly. Trying to get the dimensions right and moving the buck head all over, and it's because the stupid antlers stick out so tall. And I don't know if I ever really achieved that, but I spent a lot.
I think you did an admirable job of containing those antlers and not getting away from previous iterations the team used, where they just came out very unwieldy. And
thank you.
It's that I don't envy the job you had there. It's like drawing hair.
Right. Well, I mean, I volunteered to do the Bucks, and then once I started, I went, "Oh no!"
Careful what you ask for.
I forgot I was going to have to draw a deer.
Yeah, I like your concept of your low angle shot, because then it shows less angry Buck but more proud Buck, and I like that concept a lot. I think that was a cool way to go. It's sort of gives me
this nails the vibe of a Buck way more than any of the other, save for the '60s Buck logo they used. This right here, no, there's like a sense of pride to it, and it's a majestic, but it's not trying to be hard or tough. Like it's, I like the approach overall.
It's got a Bambi's dad vibe.
There you go.
Well, my reference photo was like a buck mounted on a wall because it was the only picture I could find from that angle was somebody actually took it from, their living room couch or whatever. And
yeah,
every other reference photo was some asshole holding a dead buck.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, it was hard to find a good reference photo, or I just want to rip off like the Hartford logo.
So Sean, what prevented you from making the obvious decision, which would be drawing a buck holding up a dead hunter? You're sitting right there waiting for you.
That's
got to be a t-shirt.
That's the secondary logo.
Yeah. I would say I will, to get serious again. The one criticism I have of this logo is I would have loved to see that lighter green pop up in just a few more areas of this logo.
Oh,
like, I don't know where you put it. Maybe it's some more anterior antlers. That's it. Other than that, I really like this one.
I love how one thing that frustrates me about the current logo is how they've just shoved the M into the chest.
Yeah.
And I really like how it feels a lot more natural in this. And like, I was, one of my things was like, I'm not going to put the M in the chest. Like, I don't want to do that. But I really love how this one turned out. And it doesn't feel forced like the current one does. And yeah, I really like that detail.
Thanks, guys. There's a like a alternate option that they would probably use more often than just like, the name lockup and the whole thing where it's just the head. And I was kind of working with that first and then trying to incorporate the whole thing. But yeah, I appreciate that.
I like your sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I like your type. I like the dimensionality, the light source you're able to get with your type.
Mm-hmm.
The little bit of shadows.
I was going for a type that was sort of cleaner than that beveled type they were using in the 2000s.
Yeah.
It's similar, like kind of Germanic, but just flatter, less going on. And Buck is a cool name for a sports team. Like let's just be the Bucks. No extra flourishes or anything on there.
Totally. And there's as hard as it is to work with the antlers, Bucks is a good word to design around because the B and the S balance each other. Yeah. It's only 5 letters. It's you don't have any eyes to mess with. Yeah, there's no eyes. But the odd number of letters I always like because it balances.
Yeah.
Well, so it's it's much better than
Cavaliers
delicious design league, which is way too many letters. Bucks
or
is so much.
Rays.
Yeah. Cool. Well done.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the big question: did you have fun, or did you just feel pressure and stressed out? You're like, why the fuck did I decide to do this?
No, not fun at all. I hate doing this stuff, and I regret signing up. And
no.
You
live, you learn.
Good time. Well, I think I submitted it with like 2 weeks left because I was like, I just can't. Can't mess with this anymore. Like I was like at work, not doing work, not doing GE videos. I was drawing a Milwaukee Bucks logo.
Dude, I think every designer's been there. You're like, I have a gig poster to do right now, and I'm just like, I want to work on this gig poster. I don't want to do this. I'm working on a video too right now. I'm like, oh, God, can I just do this gig poster? This would be so much more fun. And then instead, I just end up doing nothing because I can't do either of them. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So now we move on to the winner, quote unquote. But I heard you lost too. I don't know. Yeah. It's really confusing.
Debatable.
This is debatable. I try to get it all on screen here. Ross, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, number one was I wanted the red back. I love I love red and green. I'm a big Christmas guy, so I miss that from the current stuff, and I always liked how they embraced it. It's like it's something that you could easily stay away from, but I appreciated that they did it at some point. So I wanted that back. I brightened it up a little bit. And I also wanted the triangle back because there's definitely been a trend of, roundel logos, recently. And so I thought it was kind of a missed opportunity to continue to kind of own that shape. So I wanted to bring that back. There's a couple other versions of the logo that I did. I originally wanted to do something more silhouette based, actually inspired by a Christmas ornament that we have.
Oh, really?
But it just got too reindeer-y or too John Deere-y, and I worked on it way too long. And so,
yeah.
or trying to get that shape right. But, and then I did another one that I kind of used that same idea, but cut out part of the body and used the triangle. But it still felt too reindeer-y to me. So I went with something that was a little more kind of in line with what they've been doing. But I wanted to just kind of refine it a little bit more. And like you said, like I wanted to make it feel a little more cohesive. I agree with you. The new one feels a little disjointed. So I wanted everything to feel, like it belongs together. And I also didn't want, I also tried to force the basketball into the antlers, but it's really hard. And nothing looked like a basketball to me. So I was like, I kind of, I don't know, went more the like Jägermeister route with the basketball. So
no, I think you did incorporate the ball well within the shapes, and the shapes, your antlers actually make sense as opposed to the ones from their current logo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it all sort of supports that round ideal. It's a really, if you blur your eyes, it's a circle and a triangle, which is a pretty cool sort of graphic element, which is pretty cool. It's kind of an ice cream cone logo. Now that I'm looking at it,
well, something that I like about the current logo is how it's oddly geometric. Like I don't really get why it's geometric, but it is. And so that's something I kind of wanted to incorporate as well. I wanted, I don't know, there to be some. It's not like perfect geometry, but I wanted there to be some of that kind of built into the core of the logo.
I wonder. I'm curious about the just some of the detail stuff, because and some of your decision process and some of your the what you could call the chevron at the bottom here. This is a really interesting choice, and I wonder how that sort of came about, like how you decided, because I'm guessing you tried that in green, or you tried that.
Yeah, I tried it in a bunch of different colors. One thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to add extra outlines to the logo. I wanted it to be kind of simple. So I tried it in green, but it felt odd. It felt weird to have it trail off in the cream. It just kind of, you lost the triangle shape there. I tried kind of framing off, rather than it just coming to a point, it kind of frames off the rest of his neck, but it felt he lost his neck, so he felt shorter than what I wanted it to be. And I tried to push him up out of the triangle a little bit. But I didn't want to get the logo too tall. I wanted it to kind of stick within that somewhat of a square shape. So so the red was really more just to kind of create that contrast a little bit more. It's the one thing that I go back and forth on whether or not I actually like. But it'd be interesting to see if I
like
went
it.
back. Yeah,
I dig that red a lot in the way it plays with that green, and the fact that the antlers are red makes it look like flames too. So. And not like in the Guy Fieri shirt way, but not that
I think there's good balance top to bottom, color wise, shape wise, and that
very,
V at the bottom is it's nice.
It's very screen printy looking.
I wonder if you tried I wonder if I'm just curious about process a little bit, but his head and his ears pop off from the triangle. I wonder if you're like an early sketch was he always fit in the triangle, because I could see the ears following the shape and sort of just living, like being knocked out.
I don't know if it ever ended up in any of the versions that I like actually made, but I think that there was a few versions where the ears were definitely still within the triangle.
Yeah, I find that it's such an interesting sort of
it almost
dilemma.
like it subverts expectation to pop out of there. Like the easy play would just be to stick it into the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what most of us would have done.
Yeah.
And it just gives it a little bit more play there. Like, I'm busting out of this thing.
I think it helps with kind of the motion of.
Yeah, it gives it some movement.
Yeah, it kind of helps lead your eye up the logo. So.
How do you guys feel about I know, Aaron, you said you like the bright red. There is some vibration going on. Is that a good vibration, or is it? I wonder if some people it bothers anybody.
I would forgive it because of the limited context we're working within here on that off-white background, that sand-colored background. And I don't know, like the gig poster fan of me kind of digs that. Like I know it's not a sports friendly thing, but it doesn't bother me.
No, it doesn't bother me either. I think it's a cool and interesting choice, and it would be.
I also really like the chevron at the bottom. If that wasn't made clear, I like it. Just like I'm not normally a fan of design elements for the sake of design elements getting thrown in there, but it really works with everything. So.
Oh, thank you.
One thing I liked that you did was the ball is slightly off center, so you don't. I mean the lines on the ball, so it's not just like a flat basketball. It gives it some shape to it.
Definitely, I wanted it. Definitely, like the overall logo is definitely flat, but I think adding that just adds a little extra dimensionality to it, and I think it helps fit into the antlers too a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so.
No, Ross. To be honest, when I first saw this, I kind of discounted it because I go, this just kind of looks like he's retooling the current logo, and it doesn't really. I don't feel like he's making this something his own enough. And then after I looked at it for a while, I go, oh no, this is like I'm digging what's going on here, and how you tried to sort of do a fantasy update of the previous iteration and bring that into it. So. Well done, both of you. But I dig it.
I wonder if did you ever try to put red eyeballs on him? Did he look too scary?
I did. I had a version actually. Can I share my screen? Can I show you?
I think you can.
Should be able to.
Let's try.
I might have to remove my screen to do it. Give it a shot.
Let's see.
Do you see the option? I don't know what the interface looks like for you guys. Hey, okay, there you go. That'll work, and then I'll add it to the stream.
Yeah, so like here you can see another kind of idea. This one, I don't know. I kept thinking a little too reindeery, and it has more of that basketball.
Let me tell you what, though, the antlers as the basketball is pretty cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should have used this one. I don't know. I like where it ended up at, but I mean, I feel like if I had a little more time on this, it'd be interesting to see where it ended up at. But
I dig the legs. I dig the hooves and the legs.
Yeah, that's what I was admiring. The hooves.
I really
steal that for my next heraldry. I got to do. Yeah.
I looked at for this one. I looked at like old like family crests with like stags. There's some really weird stuff. Like if you look at that, like
totally.
A deer is a very odd looking animal, or a buck is, and so it was really hard to kind of capture what it is because it's like sometimes when I was working on this one, I kept seeing a kangaroo. I don't know if it's like a deer.
Yeah,
And-
It
exactly.
wasn't getting kangaroo.
Yeah.
Well, now I see it, so thanks, Ross.
I think it's also the
Oh, without the antlers, there's a kangaroo vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, that looks not like a buck. So yeah, so that's why I deferred to this. I thought about playing around with putting some type within the antlers itself, but I didn't end up doing that.
I dig the step you took there to get where you arrived in the final, but I think you clearly arrived at the better choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys both this question. Are you pencil and paper people? You Procreate? Are you what's your process look like?
If anybody saw my sketchbook, they would go like, "Wow, this professional picture drawer is really bad at drawing pictures." So
My sketchbook's horrible too.
I do super rough sketches that are just kind of to get the basic framework, and then and then this, I don't know, right or wrong, 80% of what I do is in Adobe Illustrator, and I tinker, copy paste, tinker, copy until I have something that I don't hate.
I have a Cintiq. Do you have one of those, Aaron?
Cintiq?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just sketch. Sketchbook is basically just for notes now. Now I just sketch right on my computer.
I mean, like I have these for just note taking during phone calls, and then all my sketching happens in the tablet.
Yeah. Oh, a tablet?
Yep.
I mean,
you're a Procreate guy.
No, I'm
on iPad Illustrator, but yeah, it's
okay. Oh, you use you have a Cintiq pad.
No
tablet. Okay. See, my Cintiq, it's my main monitor.
No, I can't work like that. I don't like dual monitor setup, but I have my Cintiq hooked up, and then I just shift over when I want to do traditional drawing, stylus driven stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Cintiq's my main monitor that I use a mouse with. And then
really?
then if I want to draw, I just use my pen.
Huh. I suppose if I gave it a few weeks, I could adjust to that, but I like the color correctness of my iMac, which I'm looking at you guys on right now.
You're right. I look great on the iMac.
Someone need to say it.
Well, I appreciate this matchup, fellas. I thought it was really interesting and good, and I hope you had fun. I would love it, Sean. It'd be cool to see your design if you mocked it up on a can. And you'd really get that. Then you'd really get the thing.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I'll do that, and I'll tag you.
This was a hell of a close match, and so whoever's grandma didn't vote for them, you better call her up on the phone and be like, "Grammy, I lost because you didn't fucking."
That's how we like it, though, guys. It was either guy could have won this one. I feel like we had two real strong entries here in completely different directions, which is as ideal as it gets for what we do here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And speaking of telling your grandma, if you're one of the 12 people that watch the show, tell your friends about it. We need more people watching this goddamn show. Okay?
I'll send a word out to my.
I'm not talking to you specifically,
followers.
Sean. Or Rod. I'm talking to anybody who's actually made it this far in this shit show. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, all the jokes were taken in good spirits.
Great work, guys.
Hopefully,
thank you for having me.
I got to work harder to offend people.
Billy, thank you for having me. I'll try to remember sleeves next time.
No, we want to go the opposite direction.
Shirtless next time.
Then we're going pantless. Then we're going full Monty.
That's when we're adding the paywall. The paywall.
Then we're going to start our OnlyFans.
STD after bar. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
Have a good one.